For Allah, glory be to Him, has said in the 90th surah of the Quran, in the name of Allah, the merciful, compassionate, nay, I swear by this city, and you are inhabitant of this city, and the begetter and the one who is begotten. Verily, we have created man into toil and struggle. Does he think that none has power over him? He may say boastfully, I have squandered wealth in abundance. Does he think that none have seen him? Have we not made for him a pair of eyes and a tongue and a pair of lips, and shown him the two highways? But he has not made haste on the steep path. And what will explain to you what the steep path is? It is freeing the slave, or the giving of food in a day of famine, to the orphan with claims of relationship, or to the poor indigent down in the dust. Then will he be of those who believe and enjoin patience and enjoin deeds of kindness and compassion. Such are the companions of the right hand, but those who reject our signs, they are the unhappy companions of the left hand. On them will be fire surrounding them. Dear believers, let me just conclude by saying that, Allah says, freeing the slave, giving of food in a day of famine to orphans and poor people. He described that as an uphill, difficult path. It is hard when things are tight to disregard the encouragement of shaitan and reach in your pocket and give. But Allah describes this as the blessed path. I said that there are always amongst the believers people who are legitimately in need, legitimately poor. And the reason why I say that is, you listen to me, I use very specific words for very specific reasons. I said legitimately poor. Not saying, well, I ain't doing well, I'm poor. Then when you look at their feet, they got a $150 pair of sneakers on. Or they say, well, man, I'm doing bad. And then you look in their pocket or you look in their bag and they got every electronic device made up until that moment with the latest, whatever it is. You know what I mean? They ain't got a smartphone, they got a brilliant phone. Yet they crying broke when they come to the masjid. And just because somebody don't call you on it don't mean people don't see that. And surely Allah sees even if human beings don't see. And yeah, it's part of our religion to help take care of people who are in that state. The Prophet's mosque, alayhi salam, they had a little outside portion of the mosque for the akla suf. The homeless Muslims. Back then, they said, well, here, man, you can sleep right outside the mosque. Ain't no thing. Ain't nobody going to bother you. We know you homeless. The importance of zakah, to help people who are in need. And they come to me, believe me. People who've been burned out of their home. People who you can look at them and they're not wearing $100 sneakers. They got on some shoes with a hole in it. I mean, people with legitimate need. But you know what our problem is? And I got to close on this. Our problem is we got too many people in need. In the ummah, in the jamaat. And I was thinking about this the other day and I said to myself, it's not because we're cursed. It's because we've been crippled by dependency. I was walking on 125th Street one day. I ran into a brother who I knew from when I used to work as the Muslim chaplain in Sing Sing. And he was out there, asking people, can you let me have a little something, something? Saw me, Imam, can you let me have a little something, something? So I'm looking at him, he's clean, well-dressed, so I'm like, well, what's up, man? You working? How long you been out of jail? These are standard questions. How long you been out? I've been out so-and-so, so-and-so. You working? He says to me, no, I'm not working. He said, nothing out here except for, he said, except for, jobs in McDonald's, Burger King, and that type of thing. He said, I ain't going to work for that little bit of money, he says to me. I told him, when you were locked up in Sing Sing, you was working for pennies a day. Big pay, 55 cents a day. Slave wages, legal. I'll let the Naib give that khutbah. How it's constitutionally legal to work people to death and give them slave wages as long as they locked up in prison. So I told him, I remember when you was working for 45 cents a day and was happy. Now you turning your nose up because the job at McDonald's or Burger King don't pay what you feel you're worth. Even though you ain't got no education, you ain't never made a halal dollar in your life. Only thing you know how to do is make haram money. So now you say, well, I ain't going to make the haram. So now you don't know how to make no money. You're out of your mind. We're people crippled by dependency. Listen, before there was welfare, before there was WPA, before there was food stamps, people was making it. They say, man, listen, my rent is due, man, in 3 days. I don't have any money, nowhere to go, so I'm throwing a party. Call it a rent party. And you can come here, I got all the latest jams, I got everything, I got the right color lights. Just pay a little admission at the door. If you want the spiked punches over in the corner, that'll cost you a little bit more. Or by the time we party through the night, I'm going to have my rent money. Now you look in the neighborhood, you see people have gone from rent parties to welfare. And with that, a reinforced sense of dependency. But now what should I call this? The prophecies of the non-prophets. The prophecies of those who were not prophets and messengers, but who listened to prophets and messengers. Those prophecies are coming true now. As the stock market crashes. People who've been prophesying the doom of America. People have been prophesying the reduction of the new Roman Empire. We're living, you got all the signs going off right now. And if you're chained at the hip to Uncle Sam, when he goes down, you going down. Everybody's talking about unemployment rates. Yeah, but did you see the reports on unemployment rates in the African American community? 8 times worse than the national average. And we were warned ahead of time. We've had people for decades and decades. Marcus Garvey, Elijah Muhammad, Noble Drew Ali, all these people saying, listen, this days of good and plenty are not going to live forever. We better get it together, get some self-determination or doom. And we got all sophisticated. Good job. Like the Sheikh used to say, best kept slaves in the world. Got an increase in Aqidah. Learn more Arabic. still dependent. So there's a demand on us now. But you know, I need to end. If we don't fight our selfish, individualistic tendencies, we're doomed, man. We're gonna always be on the bottom of society. And you can be a Muslim modern day slave. They used to have Muslim ancient day slaves in America. There were slaves on the plantation. They were Muslim. La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. They slaves. So you could be a modern day equivalent of that, if that's what you want for yourselves and your children. You know what the key is? The key is what forward-thinking Muslims have been trying to get us to do all along, which is think and act collectively. That's the key.